Welcome back to Weird Stuff in a Can. Now, sometimes things on Weird Stuff in a Can are weird things in a can. Sometimes it's the can itself that's weird, and sometimes it's just the fact that putting this thing in a can is weird. Today is an example of that. We've got curry sauces. Now, you might be thinking curry sauce in a can is not particularly weird, but these are in drinks cans. They're in, like you get the can of Coke. Well, almost. Different kind of opening by the look of it. So I got these from Tesco. They are pots. I originally thought Pots was a Tesco brand, sort of house brand, but it's not. These are in all the supermarkets. And ready-made wet curry sauces, normally actually in jars in the UK, predominantly. I think you can sometimes get them in various pouches and things like that in the chiller cabinet. And I think there probably are cans of curry sauce, but they're kind of baked bean style cans. Or sometimes they're little cans of concentrate or something. Anyway, so it is an unusual presentation for curry sauce. This was a viewer suggestion to try these out, by the way. Anyway, I've got two different varieties. I've got Keralan curry sauce and Tikka Masala. I'm going to open the Tikka Masala and use that today. I don't need both of these sauces. So we'll just have a look at the ingredients first. So ingredients in the Tikka Masala: tomatoes, which is tomatoes, acidity regulator, citric acid, firming agent, calcium chloride, onions, water, coconut cream, garlic, ginger, tomato paste, sunflower oil, garam masala, which is coriander seed, cumin seed, cassia, ginger, black pepper, cloves, paprika, ground coriander, date syrup, corn flour, salt, concentrated lemon juice, roasted cumin seeds, smoked paprika, smoked chili powder, and curry leaves. So actually, not a bad set of ingredients there. Very little in the way of chemical preservatives or artificial sweeteners or anything like that. This is just a bunch of spices and vegetables and vegetable extracts in a can. And as it should be, because the canning process obviously is a way of preserving things without needing all of that chemistry. Anyway, it says Pots Tikka Masala, the essential curry sauce. Ours has a bit more oomph from roasted cumin and smoked chili. I'm going to deviate from the instructions today because I got some leftover turkey to use. It's not Christmas, but this is actually, we had our kind of Christmas dinner yesterday because we were terribly ill over Christmas. And so everything that was in the freezer that we bought for Christmas, like the turkey, has just been sat there until we felt well enough to eat it. So yesterday was our Christmas dinner, sometime towards the end of January. And we've got some leftover turkey to use up today and some vegetables. So that's what's going to go in the curry. I'm going to use this sauce. Let's just have a look at the ingredients for the Keralan curry sauce, even though I'm not opening. Actually, just a minute. Not exactly the same. Obviously, there is a lot of commonality and overlap between various different varieties of curry. So the ingredients on this one are tomatoes, onions, water, coconut cream, garlic, ginger, sunflower oil, roasted chilies, desiccated coconut, garam masala, ground coriander, coriander leaf, date syrup, corn flour, salt, fennel seed, turmeric, concentrated lemon juice, chili powder, cardamom, curry leaves. So yeah, actually, at first glance, they sounded quite similar, and there are a lot of common ingredients between the two, but this one's got coconut and fennel and roasted chilies and coriander leaf, whereas this one's got some other things that one hasn't got. Anyway, I think we've done enough waffling. Let's open these up, or this one up. Now, I'm not going to attempt to use a can opener on this because this rim is very much like the rim of a canned drink, and from experience, I did try that as a joke one time, and my can opener just wouldn't open it. I think it's actually because of the way the rim dips down there. Anyway, nice little hiss there. Okay, well, there it is. And yeah, so it's just a big blob of curry paste in a can. Let's have a sniff. Yep, smells quite savoury. Not tremendously spicy, so it smells a bit like that kind of oxtail soup or mulligatawny maybe. That kind of thing, I suppose it is. I am going to taste a little bit cold out of the can. I know you're not meant to eat it this way, but that's what I'm going to do because that's what I always do. Tastes like a masala sauce. So, yeah, no massive surprises there. What we're going to do now is reconvene it in the kitchen. This is not going to be an authentic Indian-style curry here, I should warn you. This is going to be an authentic British leftover curry. Okay, right, down here in the kitchen, these are my leftovers. So, some leftover vegetables, roast potatoes, a bit of broccoli, carrots, peas, and some leftover cooked turkey, dark meat. This is all from the thigh and drumstick. This is a really typical post-Christmas leftover meal, which is get some of the leftover turkey and stuff, jam it in a curry sauce and enjoy it as a kind of fakey curry. I'm going to add an onion to this just because I think it needs a little bit of something else. Okay, so diced onions, and then these bits of turkey, well, I'm going to cut them up a bit, but I still want fairly big chunks. So I'll just kind of run the knife through them like that. Right, over here at the cooker, I've got some rice cooking in this pan here, which is just some boiled rice with a bit of saffron, the red string spice. I've also got a bit of butter melting in this pan. Now, it would be better to use clarified butter, especially if we needed to cook anything really hot here. But the spices in this sauce are already roasted and toasted anyway, so don't need to do that. So I'm just going to get this butter melted and slightly foaming. So before that butter burns, onions can go in. Just need to soften them a little bit. While that's happening, I am going to follow the step in the directions, which is to coat the meat in a bit of paprika. Now, the instructions were expecting me to use raw chicken and fry it, so I'm not doing that, but we might as well at least get something on there. As you can see, those onions have now softened, gone transparent, and some of them have just caramelized a tiny bit. That's fine. In now with the turkey, which is already cooked, so it doesn't need any further cooking, but I will just fry it to get some crisp edges on there. So leftover veg, and here I'm just going to get the potatoes. The potatoes are roasted and they were very crumbly, so I'm not going to try and cut these up too much, or else they will just disappear, and they're going to go into the sauce last minute. Carrots, I think, could stand to be half that size, and the broccoli too. I'm just going to chop that up a little bit so that it can be a bit more evenly distributed in the sauce. I have just put the curry sauce in. The meat has got a little bit of browning on it, as you can see. Did kick myself for not having the camera rolling, but there it is. You can't unwind that. And I've just loosened up what's left stuck inside the can with a bit of water, because I think it's going to need a bit of extra liquid to help it along. Okay, and all we really need to do here is bring this to a simmer. But since I added some water, I might reduce it back down a little bit. Right, that's bubbling away now, and my rice is nearly done. So, vegetables are all going to go in, and I'm only just going to stir that in as far as necessary to distribute and coat with the sauce. So like I say, this is not any kind of an authentic Indian curry here. This happens in the days following Christmas a lot in British households. So just going to leave that now on a low heat, just to make sure the heat has penetrated these pieces of potato, just to make sure all of this is warmed through. And to serve this up, we're just going to have a little bit of this saffron rice, and then some of this, and I've got to say, it smells delicious, tikka masala curry. Now personally, I do also like to have a little bit of mango chutney on the side. I also like just a bit of plain yogurt. I enjoy having it not mixed so that we can kind of marble it together. Tasting time. A bit of this turkey. Let's have a bit of veg as well. In this Potts tikka masala sauce. Good. Quite tangy. A little bit of chili heat there, but not much, but that's normal for tikka masala. I was expecting this would be a little bit more punchy than that, since they said something about that on the back. But yeah, that's a good curry sauce, and I don't know, tastes maybe a little bit fresher than the ones from the jar, but that just might be the spice blend. Okay, wobbly shaky cam now because I put the tripod away. I probably ought to taste a little bit of everything together, didn't I? So a bit of rice, a bit of mango chutney, a bit of curry, and a bit of yogurt. Yeah, I like that. Very good. So just some closing thoughts on these canned curry sauces. One thing I didn't mention is how much I like the design on the cans. These are really cheerful cans, actually, and I appreciate that. The curry sauce, the tikka masala sauce, was a very tasty curry, and as an example of its type, in terms of ready-made curry sauces, like you might get in a jar normally, I would say it was an extremely good example of its type. It was perhaps one of the best tikka masala sauces I've had in this ready-made form. But why in a can? Why in this kind of can and not in a jar like all the other sauces in the supermarket? Well, I was pondering that and I thought, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll weigh the empty can. And I think there is your justification for this packaging form for this product. The empty can for this curry sauce weighs 14 grams, and that's easily recycled aluminium. So 14 grams of packaging for 330 grams of product is a pretty good ratio. Whereas a glass jar with a metal lid, I didn't have the exact jar to weigh, but I've got one that's roughly equivalent. My example jar was nearly 300 grams. So 300 grams of packaging versus 14 grams of packaging. That's not a small difference. And so if you imagine if all of those ready-made sauces in the supermarket were packaged in cans like this, that would be quite a lot of weight saved, and that would be quite a lot of fuel not used in transporting them around. So that kind of reduced packaging seems like a good enough reason to do this. Now, a plastic pouch might be lighter still, but this is more durable than that. So anyway, I think there's a good reason for that to be in that packaging form, and I appreciate it, and I suppose there is a novelty angle to it as well. I almost forgot to mention this is part of a range of other products as well. They have canned stock and canned gravy as well. Anyway, that was Pot's Tikka Masala Sauce. Weird stuff in a can on atomic shrimp. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.